Hey Marquita, this is Jeneé. I was just calling just to remind you that I'm interviewing you tomorrow about Shine. So the interview is at 2 o'clock. I think I emailed the address to you. So pretty much for me, it's a one-woman show as far as I do the writing and the editing and the producing. I pick up my guests when they need rides. I'm the janitor. I'm pretty much everything on the podcast, which can be good too because you have a lot of creative control. But sometimes, if you may need a little help, then you kind of have to have it on your own and do it on your own. But sometimes you run into difficulties. Like one time I was interviewing someone in Georgia and I was having problems with our phone line. And my phone line just had all this crackling noise. So I had to stop the interview. Then I had to call her from another phone, and she didn't have a lot of time to talk. So luckily we made it happen. I was able to go into our media marketing manager's office and use her phone. But sometimes the technical difficulties can be a pain. But once you get it all done and you survived it and it turns out nice, then it's well worth the headache. So there's different things that make an engaging podcast. Definitely you want to be a good host, you want to have good delivery, you want to know your subject, you want to know your guests very well. And also too, you want to book good guests. You want to book guests that are interesting and that are going to hold the audience attention. So for example, with Shine, I invited the cast from Shine to be on the Peers podcast and so Shine is a documentary that was produced here at Peers, and it's about youth and mental health and trauma. And so we had 3 dynamic guests on, Brianna Williams, Arthur Renowitzki, and Marquita Parker. And all 3 of them were the main people that were followed or chronicled in this documentary. And they're all just really phenomenal, just really great talkers, and they all have so many different diverse and empowering stories. And so with them, when listening to them, they're gonna hold your attention. Another thing to do is kind of what I like to do when I write scripts is that I kind of like to play devil's advocate. So what I try and do is that I try and step out of maybe my own opinions and my own views and think of how somebody else may have a different type of question or a different view. And so I throw that question at the guest. And that kind of mixes it up too, because I think sometimes it's maybe just having one position and having one voice can be boring. So you wanna make it dynamic. You wanna mix it up a little. And you said if your mental, and I can't say it as well as Brianna. Brianna's such a good speaker. But you said if your mental health is not well, nothing else is well. Your mental health translates into all other areas of the mind, body, and spirit. Whether you have a diagnosis or not, your mental health is very important to your overall well-being. And some people may disagree with that. Some people may say, I'm in a bad mood, or maybe like they may be sad or depressed, but hey, I'm still in good shape. I'm still feeling good. I'm still going to church or, going to the temple. So what does my mental health have to do with everything else? Now, how would you respond to that?
Well, the thing about wellness is that it's very particular. You can have a bad day, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just completely unwell and, things in your life are not working for you. But the difference between having
So as you heard, Brianna just coughed. And that happens. It's very common when you're doing podcasts or you're doing radio interviews. Sometimes people cough, they may sneeze, they may stumble over their words, they may say something that doesn't quite make sense. And so when that happens, when I'm editing, I'll listen out for those things. And so I'll go in, like in this case with Brianna, I'll go in and highlight where she coughed or sneezed or stumbled over her words or whatever. I'll delete it. And then I'll go back and listen to it to make sure it sounds smooth.
You're just completely unwell and, things in your life are not working for you. But the difference between having a whole...
So as you can see or hear, she sounds perfect. She sounds flawless. You can't even tell that she sneezed or coughed or whatever or said because just with a few clicks, that's the great thing about digital editing, is that just with a few clicks, I can just take away a mistake or a flub and it sounds perfect and it's not distracting to the listener. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Marquita Parker, Arthur Renowitzki, and Brianna Williams star in the documentary Shine. You can watch the entire film for free on peersnet.org. And for all you... So then you'll hear the music play out and then it'll fade out. And then once that's done, then that means that the editing process is done, and so I can convert it into an MP3 file. So I convert it to an MP3 file so it can go on iTunes. So I convert it, I put it on iTunes for people who have MP3 players. And then for people who don't have MP3 players, I also put it on our website, peersnet.org/radio. So people can also listen to it through the internet, or they can listen to it through just downloading it to their MP3 players or iPods or iPhones. And then that's it. Then I just wait and I post everything up, and I just wait to hear back from all of our listeners and supporters to get feedback on the show, to see if it inspired them, if it motivated them, if they want to learn more, and also to get more ideas for future episodes of Mental Health and Wellness Radio. That's the great thing about editing and this technology, and the fact that even myself, I'm not a household name, but I have the skills and the knowledge of this, and so I can even have my own show and bring this information about mental health to people all over the world, because of iTunes, because of the internet. It's not just limited to listeners in the Bay Area, which is where we record the podcast. Anybody in the world can listen to this.